Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you very much. What we're going to be doing is talking about the basics of 12-bar blues, so you understand what a 12-bar blues is. And again, if this seems like something you already know and you're looking for something a little more advanced, every day we're going to be, like I said, every day I'm going to be doing something a little bit more complex as we keep going. But today, I just want to start off because I get a lot of people asking about rhythm stuff. So let's just talk about what a 12-bar blues is today, okay? So basically, 12-bar blues means 12 measures. So you have a 12-measure sequence that gets repeated over and over and over. And basically, if we look at the fundamentals of blues, we're talking about 3 different chords. We're talking about what we call the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. Now, the 1 chord, if we're in the, let's say we're in the key of G, for instance, the 1 chord would be G. And then the 4 chord, what we're going to do, and don't worry about your theory and all that kind of stuff right now, just real basically, let's just count up. G, A, B, C. Okay? In music, we have the notes A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. There's no H or something like that. So as we count up, we're going from G, then we go to A, because that would be the next note. There's no H. So we start all over, A, B, C. So the C chord would be your 4 chord, and then the D chord would be your 5 chord. Now that's the finger theory, if you will, but I am going to show you how to do that on your guitar as well to make it a little bit easier in case you wind up in a key that has some sharps or flats and that sort of thing. So let's start off by looking at this. G, C, and D. Now we can play this in any key, but we'll just deal with G, C, and D for now. So the 12-bar blues setup, when you play blues music, is 3 sequences of 4 measures. So the first 4 measures are going to be the 1 chord. The second 4 measures are going to be half 4 chord and half 1 chord. And then the last 4 measures are going to be what we call the turnaround, which goes 5, 4, 1, 5. Now, if you have a pencil handy, please write this down. What we're doing is we're thinking about the first 4 measures as just being a 1 chord. So if I went to this G chord and I just played 3, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Then for the next 4 measures, I'm going to play 4 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord, 1 chord for those 4 measures. So now I'm going to do this. 1, 2, then back. 1, 2. So now we've gotten 8 measures into our 12-bar or 12-measure blues. Now we get to the end, which goes 5 for a measure, 4 for a measure, 1 for a measure, and then we're going to go back to the 5 for the last measure for the final turnaround. So this would sound like this. And then it would start all over again. So if you do have your guitar handy, and this is something that you've been trying to learn, or you're new to blues and you're trying to figure out the 12-bar blues, the big thing here is understanding that we're playing a sequence of chords. And again, in the real world, this 12-measure setup that I'm talking about might change a little bit here and there. But for the most part, this is a great way of just learning how to play your 12-bar blues. So 4 measures of a 1 chord, 2 measures of 4, 2 measures of 1, and then 5, 4, 1, 5, okay? And we could do this in any key. Let's say, for instance, we're going to be in the key of A. We could go A, B, C, D, E, A, D, E. Now, again, don't worry about sharps and flats and all that right now. Just kind of follow my finger theory again, right? So A, D, E. So if you just knew your open chords, you could play A, and then D, and then E. So you'd have A, second measure, third measure, fourth measure, then we go to D, then back to the A. Here comes the turnaround, so we go to the 5, which is E, to the D, then back to the A. Then E. And then we head back to the A again. So that's how you'd play a 12-bar blues using some open chords. Now, let's bring this up a little bit. And then tomorrow what we're going to do is we're going to start making more bluesier sounding chords with the chords that we're playing right now. I'm going to show you a bunch of different chord ideas that you can do to make your blues sound even more authentic. Okay? But let's take bar chords now. If you know your bar chords, what we're going to do is we're going to find, it doesn't matter where we go on the 6th string, we're going to find a major bar chord. So let's say I go to B, the 7th fret. So I make a major bar chord right there. Now the great thing about the blues is that if we want the 4 chord, all we have to do is go down 1 string to the 5th string and make a major chord. That's where our 4 chord is going to be, is right underneath the 1 chord on the 5th string. And then the 5 chord would be located 2 frets higher. Now the awesome thing about that is now you could play 12-bar blues in any key, okay? So let's say we wanted to play the 12-bar blues in the key of F sharp. We could go down to F sharp, and then the 4 chord is right underneath us, and then the 5 chord is 2 frets higher. So now with that logic, you don't really need to count on your fingers anymore, because some keys do get sharps and flats, and if you don't know all of that stuff, it might get confusing. If you know your bar chords, this is a really easy way of finding the 1, the 4, and the 5 chord. So 1, 4, 5, or in the key of F, 1, 4, 5. Okay? And then you would simply apply the 12-bar blues structure that I just explained to you. Let's say we were in B, right? So I've got my 1 chord, I play that for 4 measures. My 4 chord, which is E in this case, I play for 2 measures. Then back to the 1 for 2 measures. And then my turnaround, I'd go 5, which is an F sharp chord, 4, 1, and then I'll drop down to that 5 for the last chord. So if you do know your bar chords, let's play this together in the key of B, doing a 1, 4, 5. And I'm going to call out 1, 4, and 5. Not B, E, and F sharp, but 1, 4, 5. Because we could do this in any key. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 2nd measure, 3rd measure, 4th measure. Now we go down to that 4 chord. Then back up to the 1. Now we go to the 5 chord. 4. Back to the 1. And now over to the 5, then we start all over again. Now, what's great about learning the 12-bar blues and learning how to solo and things like that is that you can anticipate the chord changes. As a guitar player, later on this week, when I start talking about soloing, we can listen to those chords and go, oh, it's going to the 4 chord, so I, as a soloist, I'm going to follow that. I'm going to do something that correlates with that 4 chord. Or here comes the 5 chord. I'm going to do something that relates to that. So it's really important for us to know how to play a 12-bar blues. So we've talked about how to play 12-bar blues with open chords using the finger theory. We learned how to play 12-bar blues using our bar chords starting on the 6th string. And the last thing I want to give you right now is, let's say you want to play a 12-bar blues, but you wanted to start on the 5th string. Let's say we're in the key of D, right? And we don't want to play all the way up here for whatever reason. We'd rather play D here on the 5th string. Well, if our 1 chord is located on the 5th string, then our 4 chord is located on the 6th string 2 frets lower. There's our 4 chord, and there's our 5 chord, and then our 1 chord. And if you think about it, what I'm playing here is D as my 1, G as my 4, and A as my 5 chord. D, G, A. Well, if I played on the 6th string, starting on the 6th string, I'd have D, G, and A. You see, so it is the same chords, D, G, A. And if I started on the 6th string, D, G, and A. Okay? Or down here, D, G, A, right? Any of those would be just fine. But the beauty of learning how to do it in bar chord form is then if somebody says, hey, let's play blues in the key of C sharp, you don't have to panic if you don't know all your theory. You just have to find C sharp, whether it's on the 5th string or whether it's on the 6th string, and then figure out where your 4 and 5 are, and then plug in your 12-bar blues. So tomorrow, blues chord advancement, and then we're going to be talking about some soloing for the next 3 days. So everybody, thank you so much for being here with me. Have a wonderful day and stay positive, and I'll see you tomorrow, okay?